Israeli fugitive Yaniv Ben Simon and his co-accused returned to the Randburg Magistrate's Court today. Simon and 7 others were arrested, you might remember, in Bryanston last year during a sting operation by Interpol and the SAPS.
He is Israel's most wanted fugitive and has been living in South Africa since 2007. Simon has been on Interpol's red list since 2015 for conspiracy to commit murder and attempted murder. The 8 accused are believed to have been running a major drug operation. Several unlicensed firearms and drugs were also confiscated during the raid. Now, Linda Mnisi is outside court for us this morning, and he joins us live. Linda, what are some of the big issues that we're looking out for as they head to court?
So, Michelle, what we know at this moment is that there are big developments that are expected in this matter, and those are likely to really change the trajectory of this case. So we're looking closely at that, given, of course, the fact that this matter has been on trial. As you rightfully point out, these men are charged, in fact, with being in possession of drugs, unlicensed firearm, contravening the Communications Act, and some other charges. So we know that, in fact, this matter runs parallel to the extradition of Ben Simon, who, of course, as you mentioned there, has been known as Israel's most wanted fugitive. He's been on Interpol's red list since 2015, and some of the things that needed to be determined in that extradition process was whether, fixing some of the treaties and getting to understand some of the treaties that South Africa has with Israel. So that will be determined, but of course, it does have an impact on the current case that is before this court, because some of the things that need to be determined is whether or not, if he's extraditable, would he need to first complete or conclude this matter that is before this court before he can be extradited to Israel, or he can be extradited, and of course that determines or will be determined by whether or not he's found guilty or not in this court behind me. So, sources are telling us to watch closely the proceedings that will unfold today, as they're likely to change the trajectory of this matter. Michelle?
Linda, he is Israel's most wanted fugitive. What about his co-accused, those 7 others?
Well, Michelle, I'm struggling to hear you there, but I think you're asking about the 7 other accused. They remain in this particular matter. They're not necessarily linked. So far, we don't know if they're linked, in fact, to some of the crimes that he may have committed or allegedly committed in Israel. But they remain in this matter, charged, of course, with the charges that I have mentioned. So they were all arrested in that sting operation that happened last year. This matter has been before this court and has been postponed. At times, we saw even the media not being allowed to, record some of the proceedings that were taking place in this matter. So if I'm getting your question quite correctly, these 7 men remain in this particular case as they are still charged.
We'll get more clarity on that with the case in court today. Linda Mnisi left us there at the Randburg Magistrate's Court. Thanks very much indeed for that update.